Uber, the kind of ride-sharing taxi technology thing that's causing a major stir in Ottawa. It's on front cover of every newspaper right now, and it's could turn out to be an election issue in the last 25 days.
And what's the premises of it? People
it's like a taxi, except there's no centralized reception, sort of call in and all that kind of stuff. It's an app that you have on your phone and it tracks it. They explained this to me yesterday, that's why I know something about this. It's an app you have on your phone, and you sort of order a cab or you order an Uber, and then you see it showing up on your GPS, you jump in, and it's registered legit people driving you, but there's no central administrative entities, and that's why it brings down the cost, and it's a third of the cost of a taxi.
Crazy. And can anybody be a driver for Uber?
You have to go through a credit check, a
criminal record check, hopefully.
Criminal record, but as there's 12 minutes away, and they tell you exactly when you're here and all that kind of stuff. Anyways, it's very interesting premise. And because we have such a monopoly in Ottawa on the taxi car, and they donate so much money to the government, we got there's major issues at play here.
We had that exact conversation yesterday.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So that's interesting.
What else came up?
E-transparency was actually something that came up quite a bit from several tables, and I think that maybe from the influence of actually having young people in the room, younger than usual. People were talking about as not everybody is necessarily always on the internet. As Citizens Academy, we do see that there's people who still don't have internet at home and go to the library once a week to check their emails. This is still a thing. People who want to take part in our program and don't have a phone that we can call them back on. They do not own a cell phone or a telephone. Just craziness.
So that's Mennonites, or
well, you'd think, but it's just one of those. It's just that accessibility issue that we forget so quickly. But these people were saying that if they're on the internet all day, why wouldn't they have access to what's actually happening in City Hall and more transparency and being able to actually go in and search and read things that are happening, because instead of having it locked down and opaque. So that was something that came up that they'd like to see Ottawa coming a lot more transparency, openness about what's happening. Some of the other issues that came up, I'm thinking about a whiteboard right now.
I'm just thinking about, there were so many people representing so many different organizations or their personal initiatives, so you learn so much just by being in the room. One person was there who was really pushing for youth involvement in civic engagement, and so he's all about that. He is running his own organization trying to deal with that, trying to create youth advisory councils across the city and things like that. Yes,
that's very interesting.
Because right now there's one sort of central City Hall youth roundtable. They meet a few times a year, get their youth input. But because of even the diversity in the city, that's what somebody was arguing. Why don't we have youth roundtables, but across in the east, in the center, in the south, in the west? Because especially as youth, if you're out in Carp or Perth, going to the City Hall as some big extravagant road trip is kind of a bigger deal, and it might not reflect what issues you're working with as a young person. Doing it a little bit of an aside, we had young people take part in the Civics Boot Camp, which is the other program that we offer, Nick.
We're going to talk about that after the break shortly,
But there's people who are saying that there's nothing happening. There's nothing for young people to do in the outskirts in suburbia, and especially once you're in Stittsville and Perth and Carp and whatnot. You're completely disconnected from the city, even though you're supposedly part of the same city. So I think a little bit more regional representation is a really smart move. I think kind of realizing the diversity that we have within the city is a huge upward learning curve that we're facing in the next 20-30 years.
Perfect. All right, well, that's excellent about the citizen chat. We got to learn about that and about you. So after the break, we're going to learn all about the citizens boot camp, the civics boot camp. But first, we're going to listen to one more song from Danielle, and then we're going to hear from Jen from Foodie Prince. So Danielle, what will you play for us right now?
This song is called All Your Answers, which is essentially for people who are jaded because they keep looking for answers and they find more questions, which I consider to be a super positive thing and just allows for personal growth. So there's so much pressure just going right into the music. Okay.
I apologize.
It's great.
It's all good.
I know that we're lost, the lights fade to black, this road that we crossed, we'll never turn back. Give me a hand, yeah, crumbling your hair.
Woo! All right, let's hear from Jen. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Nick and Andrew. It looks like the first weekend of October is shaping up to be quite a foodie weekend. First up, of course, is the hugely popular Beau's Oktoberfest. Hundreds, if not thousands, are expected to attend this 2-day festival starting this Friday. Now, if you haven't bought your tickets yet to this event, you might find yourself in a bit of a pickle. So when I checked the website at 8:30 Thursday morning, general admission tickets for Friday are still available, but only those 19 and older may attend. However, if you're looking to buy admission tickets for just Saturday or tickets for both days, then I'm afraid you are out of luck. Also, tickets for children for just Saturday are also sold out. But when it comes to getting yourself to and from Oktoberfest, please drink responsibly and carefully consider your transportation options. Better yet, Beau's Brewery is actually providing buses for festival goers to and from the event itself. Tickets are $15, and if you're attending both days and want to take the bus, you will need to purchase 2 tickets. So for pickup location and schedule details along with ticket prices for Friday, visit beausoktoberfest.ca. Now, if you're looking, though, to stay within the city, then consider the Ottawa International Food and Drink Soiree presented by Tangerine. It's this Saturday from 5 to 11 p.m. at the Ottawa Convention Centre on Colonel By Drive. This cocktail-style event will feature over 40 vendors, including samples from ethnic restaurants featuring foods from the Indian subcontinent, South Asia, Southeast Asia, Latin America, the Middle East, Africa, Europe, the Mediterranean, and the Caribbean. Food samples will be priced from $1 to $7. There'll also be travel exhibitors, some art and craft vendors, cultural performances, fashion, and music. And in fact, Don and I will be there with our own table as we are signing and selling copies of our new book, Ottawa Food, A Hungry Capital. So come drop by and say hello. Now, general admission tickets are still available at $10 if you purchase them by Friday evening online. Otherwise, tickets bought on Saturday will cost $15. So for a full list of vendors and to make your ticket purchases, you can visit ottawainternationalexpo.com. Also, through Foodie Prints, you can win a pair of tickets to this event. Don and I are doing a draw for a pair of tickets on Twitter and then a second draw for another pair on Facebook. So keep your eye out on our Twitter feed and our Facebook page. Now, how about some family activities? Well, if you live in the East End or you don't mind a drive to Cumberland, here's something fun for the entire family. It's Smashing Pumpkins. No, I'm not referring to the band. But what I mean is, well, have you ever had that secret urge, that desire to take a really nice big pumpkin and then launch it across a field and see it smash against the ground? Well, then, this is it for you. So bring your own pumpkin to the Cumberland Heritage Village Museum at 2940 Old Montreal Road this Sunday for some great activities from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. You can make a model airship, learn about flight technology in the 1920s and 30s, take in some storytelling, and decorate your pumpkin before you launch it. Admission is $7 for adults and $5 for seniors and students. But there's also family admission, which is $18, and that includes 2 adults and all your children that are under the age of 18. And that's it for this week. Have a great weekend.
All right, thank you so much once again, Danielle. Incredible playing. Thank you, Jen. I will be volunteering at Beau's Oktoberfest on Saturday.
Me too.
Which time are you volunteering?
I'm actually volunteering with Just Food and the Hidden Harvest group at the, starts with an M, the games. There's a whole
Highland Games.
the
Yeah, it's like the tosses.
where they
the tosses
toss
and
and all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah,
I will
there's a
see
word
you
for
all
it.
there.
The White
You'll be there?
House.
And Andrew, will you be there in the morning?
I'm not making bows this year, no.
Not much. That's
unfortunately.
sad.
I know.
Your performance at Bose every year is one I love.
It is. You have to make sure as well that, what's his name from Antique Skate Shop that we interviewed?
Aaron, yes.
Yes, Aaron better be in his,
I'll talk to
in
him
his
this
beer
weekend.
wench outfit skateboarding.
Beer wench. Okay, I will.
I'm
do
sure
that.
there's a better name for it than beer wench outfit, but
That's fine. His lederhosen.
there you go.
All right. So we're here talking about Citizens Academy, and one of the main things of Citizens Academy is their civics boot camp. And coming up in 5 days, they start their next edition of the boot camp. So, and that's what I took part in. And if you can tell everyone, what is the civics boot camp, and what does it entail?
Everyone's looking at me.
You're the lead.
Please jump in at any point, Danielle. So Civics Boot Camp is, again, taking the premise that people have amazing ideas in the city, have all kinds of really innovative thoughts about what could be improved and how to improve it. They just don't know how to go about it. And there's a little bit of a recipe for success. If you look at the different initiatives that actually have hit the ground running and gotten a lot of traction in the city, there's a magic recipe of talking to the right people at the right time and knowing who to talk to first as well. When you look at sort of the triangle of powers of the city, in quotation marks, there's city staff, there's elected officials, and then there's a whole bunch of people in the community. So if you were interested in starting up a community garden, for example, then
Ooh, I am.
there you go. So there's should you talk to people in your neighborhood first? Should you call 311? Should you talk to your counselor? Should you talk to city staff? There's like a community garden department at the city of Ottawa. Would you talk to them first? And the question is, who do you talk to them to be most effective? So we kind of go through that process in terms of looking at the governance structure of the city. Like, what are the councillors actually responsible for? What is the power of the mayor? Does he have power? And the budgeting cycle, which is a hate-love thing because it's kind of like, so it's a dry topic, but money is sexy and you can get everyone's attention with that. We talk about land use planning, and we actually have another two modules that we've added on community mapping, sort of what the city of Ottawa looks like from demographics and even the map of the city, and public engagement and speaking effectively to councillors, to other people, and to make sure to actually get people on side. And it's not actually a debate; it's more of a dialogue. So
Yes. And at the Academy, it's really important for us to be constantly learning. So we encourage everybody else to learn, but we also learn so much from every single boot camp. So this is the third iteration, and it's entirely different from the first two. The first was completely in person. I was brought on after this one. I got to see a couple of the final in-person sessions to transfer all of that learning and all of that curriculum fully online. But we still noticed that it was so important for people to have that networking opportunity so that you can have the opportunity to meet the right people at the right time. So now we're really merging the two for this third iteration, and there's 6 in-person sessions. They still have all the online resources that they can access, and I think the addition of the public engagement module is going to be super valuable for everybody moving forward.
What's in the public engagement module?
Essentially communication. So it's just teaching people how to engage, when to engage, and how to make that pitch. So it's really important for us. By the end, you were involved in practicum. Just making that process more smooth, teaching them how to make a very effective pitch for your project, because that's what's going to save you when you finally get to the stage where you can speak to a counselor or speak to a community association. So being able to do that effectively in 5 minutes and get your entire idea out in 5 minutes is a very specific skill.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's important. So once you have that knowledge, we can at least give you those final tools once you leave boot camp to continue.
And what was very cool was that there's always community